So one of the things that could go the other way is this whole concern about inflation. We're really seeing prices tick up pretty dramatically in real estate, pretty dramatically in consumer goods, and in just materials. Things like copper, things like lumber, and all of those things are very evident if you're buying a house or you're building a house or something like that. What are your thoughts about inflation and where this actually could go? Is this going to be a long-term problem or a short-term problem?
Yeah, John, you mentioned lumber there for a second. Lumber recently was up 400% from the lows of a year ago. It sold off a little bit, but just truly amazing at some of these industrial metals and the grains and lumber, the movements that we've seen. Now, our base case is this. We think it's more of a short-term blip. Because let's be honest. So the CPI data came out a week ago, came in way more than anyone expected. And we know inflation is going to be there. One of the things we talked about at LPL Research was this. A year ago, right, we had disinflation, right? We had negative CPI 3 months in a row. So things were terrible. So it's called the base effect. You knew you were going to have higher numbers. This is how terrible things were. Now it even came in a little hot, but where was the inflation coming from? You know, if you take a look, it was coming from like used cars. It was coming from like insurance. It was coming from airplane tickets. It was coming from sporting goods. All right. The things that we weren't doing a year ago, it's almost like the CPI said, hey, we're reopening faster than everybody thought. Rents, which are a huge part of CPI, was up only 0.2%, kind of right as expected. But the truth is, with all the stimulus that's happening, with the reopening, with it all of a sudden kind of a tightening labor market, people are finding trouble finding qualified workers. And the supply chain issues that you kind of hinted at, all those things are contributing to a little bit more inflation next several months. But, you know, it's kind of like show me, right? We want to see more inflation stick over the coming months, not just a 1 month blip. And the reality at LPL Research is this, said it for a while, with all the technology that's out there. Well, let's word it like this. There's some big overlaying things that are out there that have kept inflation, a lid on inflation for the last 10 years. Things like demographics, things like technology, productivity. You know, John, if you have a lot of debt like we do have, honestly, is more deflationary. So there's some big picture things in play that we still think, you know, maybe next 2 to 3 months, we're going to have some more inflation. But the second half of this year, fourth quarter of this year, it's going to come back in because those big reasons that have held inflation low for a long time are still in play.
Want more content like this delivered to your inbox weekly? Visit fastest4.com to learn more.